Was the camera not on?
Is the camera?
All right. I call to order the regular council meeting of Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. Item number 2, adoption of agenda, that the council adopts, recommendation 2.1, that the council adopts the agenda. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Any discussion regarding the agenda? All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Item number 3, 3.1 recommendation, that council adopts the minutes from the regular council meeting held on October 4th, 2023. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Wall, thank you. Discussion regarding the minutes. Councillor Rabble.
I would just like to make a comment that simply the report from myself regarding UBCM was a collection of various ideas and opinions discussed at that event, and it is not a complete assessment of the event. And those opinions and those pieces of information contained within are not mine personally, but simply just as best an account I could have made of that conference. However, you know, it's rather large and put together in such a way where it was really not the ideal form I was hoping for, because there's so many ideas in it, and it's so dense, and so many ideas and topics were discussed, that in true form it should be multiple discussions on multiple different topics. But hopefully, you know, it satisfies the requirements of this body.
I thought it looked really, really good. Really good. Are you about to put your hand up and say ditto?
I want to comment on my report from UBCM. When looking at the agenda, I noticed that I had accidentally emailed in like a draft version of my.
Oh yes.
So mine was supposed to be. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's not as pretty as I would have liked. I just want to apologize to Mayor and the rest of council there that you got a draft.
It looked good though. It looked good. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. 3.2 recommendation that council adopts the minutes from the regular council meeting held on October 18th, 2023. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor? Oh,
I was just gonna say I was not here, so I don't know what happened.
Yes,
so.
okay. All those in favor? And opposed? Would you like your opposed noted?
No, it's just because I wasn't here. I didn't know what happened.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 4, introduction of late items. I'd like to introduce late item 6.4, PRRD planning function, to provide the council with the information about the PRRD planning function. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Wall, thank you. Okay. All those in favor of adding this to the agenda? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Wonderful. Okay. Where are we? Unfinished business writing from the minutes, none. Item number 6, new business.
Or
6.1.
still on 6.4.
Nope, we already voted on it.
Oh, can I add a motion to that one?
You want to add a motion to this one? Or do you want to wait till it comes up at 6:04 and we talk about it?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Nope. We're all good. Just, we'll talk about it at 6.4. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Can somebody read recommendation 6.1, please?
The council approves the application to Northern Development Initiative Trust for the Economic Development Capacity Grant.
Can I get a second?
And it funded agrees to provide grant management.
Can I get a seconder? Councillor Rabble, thank you. Discussion? Councillor Rabble?
Having had conversations with some people who are in the economic development realm, from my understanding, we did have an economic development study performed in, say, 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. I'm wondering if that would help assist with this application, because, you know, those ideas could still be carried forward. But essentially, from my understanding, with these kinds of grant applications, sometimes it's beneficial to have kind of a direction for where we intend to go with such a proposed economic development officer.
Yeah.
You can definitely add it to the grant application, but this is more just for hiring somebody than. But yeah, we can add it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilor Rabble?
If I may, just to clarify, are there any more recent economic development studies than the one that I'm referencing, approximately 2018?
Not that I know of either. Do you need a motion to add that to the application?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion? Councilor Rabble?
If we are not successful in obtaining this grant, are we, as the village, still obligated to fund this position?
No.
Okay.
We're all good. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous and carried.
Everybody looks at me with more discussion.
I'd just like to double check. Okay, recommendation 6.2.
That council receives a quarterly financial report for information on road discussion.
Can I get a second? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion. I have a question, Ms. McNair. In the financial update, the word exceeding targets comes up in multiple areas. And in some places, it's quite evident that it exceeding targets is a good thing, and in other places, it's a little bit more muddy. I'll give you an example once I get there, I apologize. I'm sorry.
54.
Yeah, thank you. My brain is not functioning today. So where it says, in the first bit where it talks about exceeding targets in the total revenues, it's quite evident that that's stating that we've made more revenue than planned, but there's other areas where underneath that at the very bottom it says other will exceed targets by 5,000. Is that exceed good?
Anything under revenue in that area?
So it's all good.
Usually it's either grants that we weren't expecting at the time. The one was an additional amount on the small communities grant.
Okay.
Or what was the other thing? Higher revenue is higher because we weren't expecting certain things. But yes, under revenue, anything exceeding is good.
And now under revenues, we have quite a few that are exceeding targets. These revenues, is one of the revenues from the Pouce Volunteer Fire Department being called out for BC wildfire assistance?
Yes.
Yes. So we normally take that money that the volunteer firefighters receive whenever they're paid from BC Wildfire, and we bring that into our village office as a revenue.
Yes, this is only the second and third time it's ever happened.
Yeah, the reason why I am asking is because I know that they have received an unusual amount of call-ups than they normally do. As you said, this is only the second or third time that this has happened. But with the wildfire seasons continuing to pick up each year, I think this is something we are going to be experiencing more often. And I'm wondering if council would eventually be interested in looking at the funds that the Pouce Volunteer Fire Department makes whenever BC Wildfire dispatches them for assistance, and putting that into a trust account to do things like replace the fire trucks when they time out, or replace equipment as it is needed, and eventually slowly build on this account. So when our big fire trucks that are, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 need repairs or time out, we have a bit of money there that the fire department has already earned on its own, rather than us swallowing this revenue within the village office. So I wanted to present that idea to you guys. That's not something we're currently doing, but this is money that's being made by the volunteers going out and assisting in wildfires when called out by the provincial government. Councilor Rabble.
So with such a situation, so with the wildfires, it's anticipated but unanticipated at the same time, right? Like it's an expectation, unfortunately it seems to be increasing. Anyways, with that, because we're planning for normal operations, regular, operations within the region when we're getting called out, does this does the income or the fire department's receiving for attending to these wildfires exceed the operational costs of them to attend these fires? And that there's this additional surplus that's been generated that you're talking to invest in some sort of future investment fund?
Yes, it's my understanding that this is after we pay out our volunteer firefighters' time, after we pay out any expenses that they've had on their part. Am I understanding that correctly? Yes, we can.
More sometimes other than others.
This is over and above that expense, yes. Well, Councillor Wall had a question, I'll bounce back to you, Councillor Rabble.
Mine's not really a question, mine is, I think it'd be fantastic to see some of that revenue that the fire department produces stay within the fire department as well, because, you know, we see it in just last year, I don't want to really bring this up, but, you know, we had the whole debate about the fire department, and the fire department is such an essential part of what we provide as a service to our community, and they do provide revenue enough, like, they're basically self-sustaining with the revenue they bring in.
Not every year, no.
Not every year,
No,
but there's,
like, no.
Not even.
But it does help. It does help offset some of those larger costs when we're looking at things like engines and.
operating, I mean, like, the money that they bring in could subsidize a large portion of what they do. So if we did keep some of that revenue that they produce and in a trust for them to use, I think that would make it a lot easier for future councils and for future leadership 20 years down the road to look at that and actually have a little bit of a pot, and maybe debates like we had last year won't need to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Councillor Rabble, you had another question?
Just to be quick with it, so with fire department has expenditures, we get transfers from the PRA, we have our taxpayers, whatnot, right? That's funded. And so with that, you know, it might not completely satisfy it. So are we talking when the fire department as a whole breaks into, you know, an excess versus, or are we talking when it's a response to the wildfire incidences and payments coming, I assume, from the province?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that payment coming from the province and these special events, we're seeing it as a windfall for that single moment versus the operation as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, because we're going to have to slice it somewhere, right? If we were to consider this, we have to either look at the village as a whole, the fire department as a whole, or the moments in which they're responding to wildfires being compensated according to those responses to wildfire. So from my understanding, my interpretation, you're saying just in that instance when they're responding, the expenditures it costs to respond, any additional is taken into account versus considering the fire department as a whole. And then, you know,
It's not very often our fire department as a whole creates revenue on its own without it coming from these fire assists from BC Wildfire. It's not very often that they're receiving any form of revenue just for their regular duties. So this is sort of over and above. And because this is funding that money that's coming from the province, that's where that interest to put it into a shared trust for them, where, you know, it really is specific. If I remember correctly, we'd have to create a bylaw around that, wouldn't we? A bylaw or spending policy, or right. So it would be very structured on where the money is coming from. You know, this wouldn't be something the village is funding into itself each year. This is that specific money, whenever it's coming from those specific areas, putting it into a trust for the fire department. Councillor Wall.
Anybody feel free to chime in if I'm wrong here, but the way I understand what you're proposing is, let's say there's an accident out on the highway outside of our fire district, and our fire department is the closest fire department that goes and responds to that. The money that we get reimbursed for responding to that incident, you would like that money in a trust to stay within the fire department.
So the only time we get money from the province is when we are dispatched by BC Wildfire. So like,
this isn't from the RD, this is talking specifically
this
from the
is
province.
specifically from when they are dispatched. So a perfect example, they were sent to Tumbler Ridge on a mutual aid, which they would have normally responded to anyway, but then Tumbler Ridge had BC Wildfire actually call through, and once BC Wildfire called through, then they were being paid by the province. So there was a bit of that kickback. When they went down to Kelowna, BC Wildfire is the one that contacted them and dispatched them, so they were being paid on behalf of the province for that mutual aid. So it wouldn't include the PRRD money, no. It would only be money that's provincially funded through BC Wildfire. And I think this year they've received around 40,000 ballpark. The most they have received in the past is 70,000. That was a few years ago. Councillor Wall.
I think it'd be a good idea to put a portion of the funds we get from the PRD as part of that mutual aid that we have possibly into there. Now, it could be a bad idea. I'm not the expert on it.
They can't afford it, in all honesty. We use the money. Yes.
The CFO has something to say to that.
Oh, yes.
The
Sorry.
PRD funds operations, it
Yeah.
does not fund capital.
No.
You can't put it away, it's for.
Oh, it's for operations
operations.
specifically. So I was wrong. Haha.
So, if we're all done questions, maybe, kinda. I know we could go back and forth forever, and I appreciate that. But I would just, yes, Ms. Stokes.
I would like to ask you not to make a decision about this tonight.
You don't want me to, well, no, I was thinking to have you guys look into it, to bring the information back to us. I was going to make a
How about we
motion.
look into it for the budget?
You want to look into it for that? So you don't want a motion on the floor to look into it? That's what I was doing. I was gonna put a motion on the floor for staff to look into.
Motion or not.
We can do it. I think you can make a motion if you want. Let's say make a motion to look into it and then we're covered, but it'll be something that they bring back with the budgeting in January.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. You both have your hands up, oh man. Yes, Councillor Ravel.
So, I do understand the intent where we're saying, okay, if we want seniors aging in place here in Scoopy, if we want people to be attracted to our community, we need strong, robust emergency services. In order to do that, that requires investment, especially to consider potential expansions, meeting new regulations, introducing potentially a variety of services and whatnot, increased services. Anywho, with that, it costs money. To set aside money for future planning makes sense, but it's to consider where this is. And then, if I may add a skeptical comment, if allowable. So essentially what I'm thinking though, if one is to introduce a piece where for every wildfire our firefighters respond to, that money will eventually get put into a fund. Would that not potentially increase the likelihood of council agreeing to send our representatives to wildfires, even though it makes sense. I haven't seen an issue with us sending them to wildfires, but I never want some future nefarious situation.
So that's not a decision that councils make, that's a decision that our chief makes. And so our, no? Well, we agree to our fire department to maintain a certain
I
standard.
have to get a majority vote from you guys
Oh, yeah, right.
to send them, so when the fire chief gets a call for wildfire, he gets a hold of me and says, we've been called up, can we get permission to
Right.
go?
Right,
And
right.
because it's taking the apparatuses with them and it's them leaving, we always make sure that we have
Right,
it.
yes.
It's not necessarily brought to a council meeting, but we do it by a text or by email.
And your concern is that by doing that, we could have, like, in the future, mayor and councils pushing them to be gone more often to make more revenue, is that what you're thinking?
So
I'm putting that in layman's terms?
you'll never have them go without getting permission from council.
Yeah, and it would have to
So
be like a
that
majority.
income, I mean, it's a bonus. So it's kind of, you're just setting aside that money so that they can reinvest it back into
Yeah.
because we pay the expenses out of that, we pay the firefighters, we take everything off before we say they've made this much.
It's just a matter of keeping the money that the fire department earns in the fire department.
And once we put that money in, it stays there, and I can't put it back out.
Yeah, it would probably
Put it
have,
up by
by bylaw,
Okay.
It's gonna be in a bylaw.
so,
If there was an emergency and we wanted it.
yeah. Councillor Wall.
I'll make the motion for staff to look into this, and if possible, on the budget, if we could have two options, one with it and one without it, and then we could look at it and see how the budget lines line up, and it's hard to make a decision without actually seeing it on paper, or maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't make sense, it all really depends on how those budget lines line up. So if we could do that, that'd be great.
Okay, I second your motion. Counselor Ravel?
I don't know if it's an amendment, but my suggestion for kind of a snapshot would be to consider it as these pieces. Okay, we're going on here. So anyways, basically, what's the fire department as a whole for, say, the last 5 years? What's the wildfire response for the last 5 years? What's the usual ratio of the cost of responding to a wildfire? And then what's the expected windfall over an average period, right?
Well, there could be no fires, or there could be 100 million fires, like, how do you know?
True.
Like, we just had
Yeah,
a summer from now, like, we did with fires, and it's,
At this point in time, you know, when you get down to brass tacks, it's the firefighters are earning that money by themselves by going out to mutual aid calls, and the province is funding them for risking their lives and their time with their family. And I would like to see that money stay in the fire department with the firefighters who've earned it, and not come to the village office. I'll get off my soapbox.
well, that would have been a better motion, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now you have a motion on the table. You have to-
Yes, so, all those in favor of staff looking into this
And having two separate budget lines.
and having two separate budget lines so that we can see both numbers? Unanimous and carried, thank you. I had other questions about this finance thing, but I've already asked one. Does anybody else have a question? They had? No? Just me. Oh, no, Councilor Ravel, you go for it. You guys are gonna leave me hanging.
Fiscal prudence, right? Because our fiscal year ends December 31st, 2023, we're essentially 2 months out, correct?
This is ending September 30th.
Yes, so with that, because there's 2 months left, everything will kind of shuffle out at the end of the year, and this is only 3 of 4 quarters. So, you know, it's adding a bunch of things where, well, of course, it looks like it's good. It looks like we're gonna meet our requirements. And then the way that the numbers are, it
I'm gonna
looks,
be a real pain. Do you actually have a question?
I think I'll just yammer on more. Anyway, my thing is, our budget appears to be fully funded and meets legislation. Is that correct?
Well, I have a few questions. That's why I was asking if you have a specific question.
It's just my fiscal prudence question.
Okay, so with our sales and services under revenue, it's showing that there is a deficit. Is this deficit from contracting and operations? Like, many of our new, like,
This is because of what he just said. The budget is the whole year.
yeah,
We haven't finished the year, so we have 1 quarter.
that still isn't accounted for.
Funded yet in
Okay.
here, so it will, if you read the rest of it, it says it will meet targets by the end.
Yeah, by the end of the year. Perfect.
Or exceed.
Or exceed.
That one won't.
And then, and then under investments, I can't find where that is.
Interest, right?
What percentage is the interest rate at?
Well, that's variable, there's multiples.
Yes, I know, I promised that Ms. Stokes I wouldn't do that,
There's
shouldn't I
like
just say that?
there's our daily that's in the bank account.
Yeah.
As well as the ones that are at Raymond James, so I can't answer that off the top of my head. Sorry.
Okay, so far, so we're exceeding targets because obviously our interest rate is doing really, really well.
It's about 3% that was last year, so we are about.
Yeah. Okay, and then capital budget, I had a question about that.
Yeah.
So this 423,601, so this is the amount that was budgeted for capital spending for this year?
Yes.
Yes, that's all of it added up. So I've literally taken each of those line items and I added them up for a total of 423,601. So this was the total budget for the capital spending for this year, so we're not looking to spend any more? Or we have other projects coming up, like
There's still stuff coming in.
yeah, there is still stuff coming in.
This isn't complete, no, this is just to date.
Okay. And then my last comment was on our expenses. I was happy to see, thank you, that we're over $1 million under budget for expenses so far this year. Is that
We
number?
still have a quarter to
We're
go,
not done.
We're gonna spend $1 million in the next 2 months?
possibly.
Oh,
It's roughly a $4 million budget, and we're 3 quarters in.
I guess so.
So an extra $1.25 million, that sounds all right.
I thought we were just kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah.
I was was like, our expenses are over $1 million under budget, we only have 2 months left, I was just like ready to high five the room, that's all.
But then our revenues are low too.
I know.
Right?
I know, so true. Okay, that was my last question. Councillor Wall, did you have a question?
I just wanted to comment on something, but then you answered it yourself, so.
Ah, okay, perfect. Councillor Rabble, did you have another question?
It was about the capital expenses regarding the, sewer, or not sewer,
Culverts.
the culverts. Yeah, the culverts, because those will be future capital expenses this year.
Yes.
But my question was that fiscal prudence question, is this budget fully funded and complies with legislation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of receiving this for information? Unanimous and carried, thank you. 6.3 recommendation.
Recommend that council receives the draft report of amendments for policy 1.18 employee expenses for information.
Can I get a seconder? Councillor Grapple, thank you. Councillor Wall?
I think this amendment in here follows through with what the auditor's report was, it's bringing things up to date and just some refreshing that's been going on there. I would like to, if council is agreeable to it, just put it to the motion to accept the policy as presented.
Okay. Can I get a seconder?
Oh, weren't we already in the motion? Oh no, that was information.
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
Are you seconding that motion, Councillor Rapp?
Yes.
yes, okay, seconded by Councillor Rabble, thank you. Discussion, Councillor Rabble?
Simply for clarification purposes, this is for employee inspection expenses and excludes council. It is intended for administration and employees and firefighters for the village, employees but not council, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried, thank you very much. Okay, 6.4 recommendation. Yeah, you gotta pull out the,
Council, geez, I shouldn't have taken that off because it was like,
I know.
essentially, to provide council with information about the PRD planning function as information, but then
Yeah.
we can go deeper.
Can I get a second? Councillor Wall, thank you very much. Thanks for jumping in on that, Councillor Rebel.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yes, so the PRRD planning function, this is something that all municipalities in the Peace River Regional District are part of. It makes it so that you can vote on things outside of your technical area. Some of the following items coming up that we can't currently vote on because we're not part of the planning function is like the OCP and zoning bylaws and updates, the OCP and zoning amendments, development variance permits, temporary use permits, goodness gracious, ALR applications. So these are all things that every other municipality can vote on. We used to be able to vote on, but in 2021, Pouce Coupe at the time voted to remove themselves from the PRRD planning function, and it has been voiced by our PRRD rep that he wishes that we go back into being a part of this, as we are the only municipality in the PRRD that is not taking part in this planning function. There is a cost that's associated with this. Obviously, it's $1,713 for the year. That's approximately $713 for the year. But again, with that, it does also have benefits that bounce back to the community as well. So, you know, taking part in the upcoming regional growth strategy would be very beneficial for Pouce, as we will be included in this, but if we're not part of the planning function, we will not have a voice in it. Councillor Wall.
And as far as I understand, and I'm not very well briefed on this, but as far as I understand at the moment, we are the only municipality in the region that is not part of this group. So everybody has a voice, everybody has a vote at the table, except for Pouce Coupe.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to.
Do you have a question, Councillor Rattle?
Well, I could discuss after.
Okay. Proceed, Councillor Wall.
Because we're in this motion, can I make a motion?
This motion is to reserve for discussion.
I said for
Okay, and we were discussing it, so, okay. I put the motion on the table that we direct staff to contact the PRD and express interest in rejoining that.
I think because we already,
Do you want to read?
it's very
I want
much,
to rejoin it. I'm
Okay.
putting the motion to rejoin.
there we go, thank you.
Say
Can I-
yes or no.
Can I get a seconder on that motion? Councillor Johnston, thank you very much. And moving into discussion, Councillor Ravel.
So yes, we've discussed the information piece. Now I'm thinking we're discussing about rejoining it. So I'm always an advocate for a regional approach. We have a lot of strengths if we work together. Doing it individually as each municipality could actually waste and exhaust resources. Where if we compile our resources together, we have a very, a small population spread out over an extremely large area. It is important that we take a regional outlook while still defending specific locale interests, municipal interests. So we actually would have a position of advocacy for ourselves within the region as well. So I believe that the benefits of joining such a body in regards to development planning, economic development planning, regional supports, would offset the apparent membership cost associated with this. And however, though, would this be an ongoing recurring thing, or would this need to be brought before this council every single year to continually rejoin, or would it be just an ongoing thing?
Ms. Smith?
So once you've rejoined, it just goes on every year until council decides they want to pull out. The way it came up the last time was somebody brought it forward and they voted to withdraw from the PRD. And we have to give notice to the PRDs.
Councillor Ravel?
My two questions from that would be, when would be the soonest time we could rejoin? Like, would it be January 1st, 2024, something like that? Would it be immediate? And which budget line would this go against?
Ms. Stokes?
The joining, I believe, is January 2024, but I will get clarification once I send in the letter stating that you wish to rejoin. And as far as the budget,
It goes through the regional requisition. So it's taxed. Taxpayers.
Okay. And then if we're able to join in 2023, would there be enough to fund, I assume, a prorated rate? And then in 2024, would we have to make considerations in this budget line to fully fund this fee?
you won't get it for 2020.
Okay.
I can tell you that now, we've got 2 months left. It will go before the board, the PRD board, on the 16th of November. We probably won't get a decision until, they only have one meeting in December, so we probably won't hear till January. So it won't be effective till January.
Councillor Wall?
I do really support rejoining this, as I think as the only municipality without a voice at these tables, this could help us with our regional transit strategy that I've been advocating for. It could help us for food security that the region is big on, that currently we don't have a voice for. We have a lot of farmers and gardeners and things like that here. And with the rising cost of living, that's something that's really, really affecting people in not just our community, but the region and the province and the country. But I think we definitely should have a voice.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of staff rejoining the village of Pouce-Coupe back to the PRD planning function? Unanimous and carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 7, correspondence. Is there any correspondence anyone would like to speak under?
7.1, the council receives the report from the Bylaw Animal Control Officer's information.
Can I get a seconder? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion? Councillor Ravel?
Could I get more information regarding this supposed feral cat colony?
Ms. Stokes is getting there.
66.
Yes, 66.
The short answer is no.
Now that's what you want to know. I remember being with the
It ebbs and flows.
Is it the same one?
Most likely. Is it? And Ms. Stokes?
We can reach out to the bylaw officer and what kind of information do you want? It's regarding the PRD, so it's not really
Yeah,
our.
it's not here, it's in the PRD, and the SPCA is aware but is unable to offer assistance.
Is this in Area D? Is it nearby the village?
Yeah, this would be in Area D, yes.
So occasionally our bylaw officer gets calls from people in the area D because they think they're within and they don't know who to call. They don't really have anybody to call, so they call him. And he did investigate and it's not in our area, so there's nothing he can do. Our bylaw officer does not cover the regional district area.
And he did, looks like he did contact the SPCA and they are also not able to offer assistance as they are full. Yes.
You know, of course we have to keep in consideration animal populations, and if this would pose a risk to the people of Pooskoopi, say if this colony grew in size and spread to near our municipality. But anyways, it was just of intrigue, essentially. There were potential problems in the past. I want to ensure that we aren't having another issue again in the village.
Councillor Wall.
I would like to quote the great Bob Barker, spay and neuter your pets, please.
Any other discussion? All those in favor for receiving this for information? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Any other correspondence anyone would like to speak on? Councillor Wall?
I just want to note something on the RCMP report that shows that there is a decrease.
Oh, hang on, so you gotta read the recommendation.
Oh, I'm not there.
I know, I'm sorry.
That council receives a report from the Dawson Creek RCMP as information.
Can I get a seconder? Councillor Rabble, thank you. Discussion, Councillor Wall.
I just want to note that on there's a
He was all ready and everything, and I have made him all the way back.
It says drug possession and drug trafficking is down considerably at 33%. That number there, I would just like the public to know, is a little bit misleading. Same with the shoplifting number, because they no longer, when it comes to drug possession and drug trafficking, they have increased. Well, first of all, in 2022, it was illegal to possess drugs. Now it is decriminalized, so they don't go after possession unless you're under 2 grams, and now the provincial government has increased that to 4 grams, so they won't go anything like that. So that's why you're seeing a decrease there. More people are using drugs, which can be quite obvious to a lot of people out in the community. It's just the regulations have changed, which show it as a decrease. Same with shoplifting and theft that's on their theft has increased to $5,000 or it doesn't count. So if somebody's stealing a jerry can, it doesn't count as theft. It's a misdemeanor, it counts as nothing on here. So that's why you're seeing those decreases. Even though general theft is up, the dollar amount has also gone up considerably. So it shows this decrease, even though it may actually be an increase or is an increase.
Councillor Rowell?
A point of clarification, essentially, with the trends that they're mentioning, it pertaining to calls for service combined with proactive investigations. So these numbers that we're viewing are not really just the actual calls received, they're actually the ones that an officer attended?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, that's my understanding of that as well.
That's also changed. So it used to be that you saw what was reported, now you see what they respond to. So they're like, for example, on here you see breaking under the business. Now we know that that's up. Like there have been more calls, more businesses have been broken into, except not as many have been responded to, so you're seeing that number go down.
I understand how you're trying to word that. You might want to be a little bit aware that by stating that it could make it sound like you feel that the RCMP are not responding to the calls they're receiving. So I'm just letting you know, just might want to.
A lot of times they haven't been, as far as I'm aware.
Councillor Rowell?
Are we able to, do we control the way this information is presented? Can we make suggestions about how it's presented to us?
No, it's presented to us the same way it's presented to Dawson Creek, what is on PRD. It's all presented the same way. We all receive the same report.
Well, my suggestion would be the difference between presenting the actual aggregated number of calls received for each particular crime designation versus, you know, the ones that were responded to and resolved, and, you know, kind of parceling it out more versus, you know, the way it's currently being presented would be my suggestion.
Okay.
It's an election year coming up provincially. They want to look good. That's they want to make it look like things are getting better, right? So
Yeah.
they just change the way they present numbers.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting this for information? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Okay, are we ready to move on to bylaws? Yes.
I'll put the motion to accept the other 7.3 and 7.4 as information.
I get a seconder on that? Okay. Unanimous, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried, thank you. My brain is shutting down at the moment. Okay, item number 8, bylaws.
The council receives the draft public notification bylaw 1051-2023 for information.
Can I get a seconder? Councillor Wall. Ms. Stokes, I don't know if you've been receiving the same emails as me, but it appears that the old editor of the Mirror has teamed up with the Chamber of Commerce, and they've sort of created like a what's happening in the area email chain. Could that be another thing? No, you already double checked it. Yeah, I kind of figured.
It's not reliable.
Oh, okay, that's why.
We don't know, I mean, just, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it's a bylaw, you wanna make sure you've got places that you can post it. So, if you know, I've worked with the other municipalities, basically,
Yeah.
copy paste, and we're all about the same.
Yeah.
I have put in that our Village Voice, cause I know when our Village Voice gets processed, and
Yeah.
we have control over that, so if we have to put out a notification, we can use that as another alternative.
Okay.
But basically, our two, going forward now, is stated as the website and Facebook, as well as our posting sites here.
Okay.
Because we don't have.
And in the Village Voice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And or in the Village Voice, depending on what it is, or, you know.
So
So with the
in-
Village Voice, we have the ability to do like mail drops and stuff, so that we know that that's getting out there.
There, yeah.
We have more control over that than.
In this bylaw, this is just to be received as information, but if this is changed, are you not needing a motion to accept and adopt?
No, I can't. So with bylaws, you must present to
Oh,
council
right.
first,
And then you.
and then we have to do first, second, third, and then
Yeah, okay, right. Thank
you must see it for information first.
you. Councillor Ravel.
I'm deeply saddened by the sudden closure of the Dawson Creek Mirror. I believe that our region should have a newspaper, and that, anywho, and I'm excited for what This Week in the Creek has to offer.
That's it.
And so, however, with the proposed bylaw, I've never seen an official conduit of information be a Facebook page, and I'm just a bit curious about the implications of utilizing Facebook as an official conveyancer of public information, because it is limited by having internet connection and an account.
So that's why we put or in the Village Voice, because in the piece, we are limited to what we use to put notification out, and you have to be able to publish it in 2 places. So our website is always our first place, and we've put, because of what Facebook is doing now, there's no guarantee that they're going to leave whatever we post, because if it seems news related, they'll take it down. So that is why I've also added or in the Village Voice, so that we can do all 3, we can do 2, but I don't have to bring another bylaw back to say, can we use the Village Voice? This way at least we're covered, we've got some areas that we can post it, And we qualify for things like the tax exemption notices and tax sale.
Councillor Ravel?
Well, my interpretation of that would be that Facebook would not be a reliable spot because of the potential for it to be removed, and that the access is very limited. Would we be in compliance with the statutes and the acts, community charter and whatnot, with simply the website, front door of the office, and Village Voice?
Yes, but I don't wanna limit it to just that.
Mm.
I wanna be able to have that avenue to use Facebook if we can, because 90% of this town relies on Facebook. So, in the event that we need to use it, I mean, if it gets taken down, it gets taken down, but at least we can monitor it because we have an account. It only goes on our village Facebook account. We don't post to all the others. We don't rely on those ones. We, as the village, only post to the village Facebook. It's up to members of the community to share it and put it on other pages. That's not on us.
Councillor Wall?
Councillor Rattler, I think, as just a point of clarification here, that if it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Stokes, but if it's not written in the bylaw, it wouldn't be a way of sharing it. So it's just adding that option that the village can post on Facebook. Now, Facebook can do what they want with it, but without it being written in that bylaw, the village can't post it. It's just an easier way to get that out there. But there is the backup of the Village Voice and on the office door and over by the post office and all the rest. It's just another option of sharing it.
When in the community charter, it states that you don't state that one of the alternative hosting sites is within your village office. That's why it's not listed here. In the community charter, it states that that is one of your hosting sites, so there's no point putting it in the bylaw.
Councillor Ravel?
My concern is limited access, reliability, but actually thinking a bit greater, the way it's defined, Facebook page means the village's computer and internet-based technology information resource on the Facebook social media platform. It doesn't define in enough clarification of what exactly the village's Facebook page is. Therefore, it could expose us to potential risk of somebody else masquerading as the village and then presenting this information as legitimate notices to others, potentially. Because
This is how it's worded in all the other communities.
I think it exposes us to risk in a world where there's, a lot of information that can be manipulated.
Ms. Stokes?
How would you word it?
I would have it struck completely because of the risks it poses.
You can't, we have to state where we're posting it.
I personally.
Then you're not complying with the bylaw, then you're not complying with the posting bylaw. We have to have a place to post it. We have to say something.
I have a,
Councillor Wall?
I think I have a middle ground that could be helpful. If we reword it from village Facebook page to village social media platforms, official village social media platforms, because maybe Facebook with this whole news thing that they're doing, maybe 2 years from now, they're not even gonna be a thing in Canada, like, who knows? Probably not, but could be. So if we just say village operated social media, or official village social media platform, then that leaves the door open, and it's officially our social media, which strikes your concern there as well, Councillor Ravel.
So you want B to say by posting the public notice on the village's social media?
On official village social media platforms. Or village social media pages or something like that, yeah.
No, I like the word platforms.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
Because right now we've only got one, it's Facebook.
Yeah, but who knows, maybe 5 years from now something else comes up and we'll have a different one, right?
Okay.
Councillor Ravel?
For clarification and in response, I believe that the entire mention of Facebook page should be struck from this proposed bylaw, simply because it will have unintended consequences potentially in the future. And I think I understand the need for alternative conduits of conveying this information, especially as the Mirror is no longer in publication. However, I think it should not be listed officially as an actual legal information conveyance mechanism.
Councillor Wall.
This is the last thing I'm saying. If it's not listed on here, we can't share it that way. So we need something on there. So I'm going to formally make the motion that we change that from Facebook to social media, village social media platform, or whatever. it's saying.
Official social village.
Yeah, official village social media.
Platform.
Can I get a seconder on that? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Discussion. Councillor Rebel.
I intend to vote in opposition simply because I don't think social media should be used as a legal mechanisms of conveying this information. Social media can be used as a supplementary form of information conveyance, but not as a legal one.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Would you like, all those opposed? Would you like your opposed noted?
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Sorry, I tried.
I'm feigning as a human being over here. Number 9, administration reports, 9.1 CAO report.
Okay, couple things. Aside from what's written here, I'm not reading this all out. At the bottom, Christmas party. Is council okay with us taking $300 to $500 to purchase prizes for the games that we are planning?
For the staff Christmas party?
Yes.
Question, how much did we spend last year? Same amount?
We didn't spend anything on prizes.
We didn't?
No.
What did we do instead last year?
Those prizes were already in the office, that's what we used.
Oh, okay.
And they weren't that great.
You win a stapler.
Like you win a
Well, not
mini
quite,
game.
but anyway. We would like to know if we just paid up to $500 in the budget and buy prizes.
And how much do we normally have budgeted for our staff appreciation and Christmas parties and stuff? Like where's the money coming
Christmas
from?
party, would we say 2,500?
Yeah. And so that would
And
come
we're
out of
not
that
doing that yet.
$2,500 budget?
Yes.
That was already budgeted for?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was the only other question. Councillor Rebel.
Can I have a motion
We
for
need
that?
a motion to, I'll make a motion to
Okay.
offer these up to $500.
Seconded by Councillor Wall. Councillor Rebel does have a question. Councillor Rebel, I apologize.
Could this be interpreted, I'm not opposed to celebrating staff and recognizing staff. That's absolutely integral to, appreciation of the people that diligently work so hard for our village. My question would be, could this gift be perceived as a taxable benefit that may have tax implications for the recipients?
Not if the gifts are under $250. So as long as there's no gifts, no single gift over $250.
Don't go to Bed Bath and Beyond.
It's not
It's going out of business.
I doubt that there will be any prizes over $250, but we'll keep that in mind. We're talking buying several prizes, because we have several games planned. Well, certain people have several
Start
games
practicing
planned.
with your oven mitts now, boys.
That's just one of them, I'm just saying.
Oven mitts.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, okay, so, can we finish that motion?
Oh, yes. All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? Would you like your opposed noted?
May I make a clarification?
Absolutely.
I'm concerned of the implications of it, but I do appreciate the intent.
Would you like your opposed noted?
No, that's okay. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, next, did everybody get my note about, saving the date for December 9th for the Christmas party? It was in the
It
email.
didn't have a time on it, though.
Mayor Beach,
Yeah.
it said in big bold letters, save the date. More info to come. Okay, thank you. Anyway, next thing, at the last council meeting, Councillor Woodell, forwarded us some information about the Citizens on Patrol. And Mr. Vetter is going to be here as a delegation at the next meeting. He didn't want me to share any information yet. He wants to come as a delegation first to talk to everybody.
Okay.
Okay? And just so everybody is aware, we did start looking into the info sharing agreement with ICBC for our bylaw officer. It is very intense and more than likely we would not get it. There's a lot of hoops to go through. So I doubt we will get it. And that's all I have to say.
I wanted to say, I was so excited when I saw there was music, because Councillor Wall reached out to me and said, is there music at the Old Fashioned Christmas?
And he reached out to me too, and I said, yeah.
And then he reached out to you and you were already on it, so I thought that was awesome.
So we have a very spectacular person who's coming to play that played at Canada Day. He was very excited about doing it. So he will actually be situated over in the fire hall in the middle bay there, so that he can stay kind of warm and.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm glad to see that.
Oh, would you like an update on the 24th?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, no,
November
that's
24th is the
Christmas.
old-fashioned Christmas.
Yeah, so just giving us the
So,
official
as
update.
staff, we have started, we have 5 vendors for the mini craft fair that's going to be in here. We're allowing up to 10 tables.
Okay.
Because we figured that way, and that won't put us over capacity or anything. We've talked to everybody that we need to. We have made some plans for if it's really, really cold outside, that we're gonna have the hot dogs and the buns just inside the vestibule here, and people, because of food safe, we're gonna be handing them out.
Mm-hmm.
If it's really cold like last year where everything was freezing, we will have the condiments in here. That's there.
Oh, that was something else, yeah.
And because we have 2 exits and 2 doors, we'll be able to do it. And the ladies in the front office are working on some spectacular decorations, as I showed you the one, but there's more to go with that. So the village should look very pretty, and we're also going to put 3 fire pits in the one planter, so that people can kind of stay warm together, but not everybody's huddled around the one planter,
Yeah.
or one fire pit.
Councillor Wall?
So last year when it was super, super cold, I noticed that those fires maybe weren't as large as they.
You can only have them a certain size.
Could we as council decide to have a larger fire?
No, and we
Maybe
can't
exemption to
uninvite
the
the fire
bylaw.
chief.
Not in town, not in town.
No.
You couldn't in town.
I told you we can't uninvite the fire chief, okay?
That's why we decided 3, at least then we've kind of got it all going in one planter. And
What's the hottest thing we can burn? I'm kidding.
I'm refraining from answering.
Start throwing things.
That's it, that's all I have.
That sounds wonderful, that's awesome, I'm very excited. Councillor Rebel.
Tiny question. So for the Christmas, old-fashioned Christmas, if a vendor was interested in approaching the village about being a vendor at this celebration, where would they direct their inquiry to?
Call the office.
Call the office.
Yep.
They just put a vendor sheet out on the Facebook page.
And
so
it will be
feel free
going
to
out
share.
in the utility bills.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
will be in the next Village Voice.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, the official social media.
Call
The
me.
official, it's on the official Facebook page of the village, Chris could feel free to share.
It was just
He
information.
did that wasn't, I didn't get it until after I said it. My brain is not functioning. That sounds wonderful, thank you so much, Ms. Stokes. Anything on action items? Anybody wants to talk on?
Looking good.
Yep, getting there. Ms. Stokes, yeah.
I would just like to say one update, number 5, the bylaw. The forms for complaints process and all that is on the website now.
I know, I saw
So
that.
people can file their complaints.
Online.
Yeah, they can do the whole thing online now. It's so cool. They took her idea and ran with it. They were great. Marty Francis.
Hopefully that gives people, a more convenient way.
That's why I've gotten 0 calls.
I can talk on item number 3. I just had a meeting about it on Monday. Public transit. I had a meeting with Area D Director Hebert and Mayor Dober. The City of Dawson Creek is currently in conversations regarding transit, but the conversations are currently enclosed. And so they will be, he'll be coming back to me in a couple of months when he's able to speak a bit more on it. And then I will update you guys. So
I appreciate that. It's good to know. It's moving. I don't know which direction, but something's happening anyway.
But people are talking about things and stuff. That's what matters. So I'm expecting to hear from him after Christmas. So I will give you another update when I receive it after Christmas. Okay. Capital and special projects. Do we have anything on there? Do I have any more updates on that? Let's see.
I agree.
I know. Any word on when the other culvert's being put in? Oh, that way your arm's up.
So I have been after the contractor and we are hoping for next week.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Okay, so I am on top of it. So is Public Works, but we can't make them do it.
I know. Can't force them to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are watching.
Okay. Moving on to council calendars. November and December, you peeps going anywhere? Don't forget about the Remembrance Day Assembly that happens at the Poughkeepsie Legion on the 11th at 10, I think it is.
Starts at 10 or 10:30.
Yeah.
I don't know until closer to the.
Yeah, starts at 10 or 10:30. Don't forget about that. Just thumbs up. Okay, perfect. And then, once we officially have the date for the Christmas party, you'll add it on the December one. Yeah, blink and you miss it, and 2023 is over. But I must say, did any of you people sit at home on December 16th and realize it had been a whole year since we've been sitting in these seats and nobody died?
It's not November 16th yet.
No, October.
Oh, you said December.
Oh, sorry, October.
Your official date is tomorrow.
Our official date is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, everyone.
Happy anniversary,
It's
guys.
not midnight yet.
I know, but we'll all call each other and weep tomorrow. Whole year we've made it, nobody blew up or died. So, I was having a moment just a few weeks ago.
And I think we've been very, very productive in that time as well.
Unbelievably so, yes.
Like at UBCM, they're talking about the municipalities. Oh, we've done this bylaw. Like we're doing quite a bit this year. It's like we've done that. How many bylaws? How many policies? How many?
It's like when Miss Stokes opens that cupboard that's on the side of her desk and there's all those binders.
And we're updating a lot of stuff that's been, outdated for a while. I'm very, very proud of what we are doing as a council and how our staff has managed the workload that we've, well, I don't want to say it this way, but it will, put on them.
It's been a glorious team effort. But yeah, as of tomorrow, I know, isn't that crazy?
I know the community might not see all that we've done right now, but 10 years from now, when we have the updated bylaws, and we have the OCP, and we have everything done, it's going to be great.
You've survived a whole year, Miss Stokes. Congratulations.
Okay. They all have congratulations.
Oh, and just for public transparency, I do want to say that, it's hard when you don't see shovels in the ground every day.
Yes.
But there's a lot of background work that needs to be done that our lovely office staff have to do day in, day out to get to that point. So
Yeah.
we will be there.
There's a lot of behind the scenes, yep. All right, Councillor Johnston, what you been up to?
I'm thinking that I got something, but I've been up since, I got called to work at 4 this morning and I can't think it.
Oh, no, your brain is bookers like mine
It
is.
is, I feel like I've done something, but I can't
I
think
think
of it.
you attended something for the RAC or something, wasn't it? You were talking about it.
Or synergy.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yes.
I couldn't get on, my computer still won't let me log into that. I tried.
You have to bring that thing in. Yours.
Oh, I got my laptop, alright,
An
iPad.
iPad, it went through today. Is it on Teams or Zoom?
Zoom.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I will take it in and get it looked at.
Yeah.
I just haven't put it on.
Bring it here and give a peek at it if your computer's being weird again. Okay. Councillor Rabble, what have you been up to?
Sure, I'll keep it brief. There's an upcoming library board meeting happening, I believe, around November 16th. From my understanding, the school has been holding a food drive, which myself and Mayor Beach have, Mayor
Been
Beach
working on
took the lead on, yes.
We've been working on it, yeah.
And then, I've been hearing very little from the food bank, but I'm hearing that it's, you know, quite some progress has been made in that end. Shucks. I've been focusing on other hats outside of this board recently in the last 2 weeks, and other commitments. Anywho, so, but the thing I would leave everyone with is, you know, November 11th, somber day to remember fallen soldiers and those who have laid down their lives or received injuries for their commitment to defend our liberties and our freedoms that we get to enjoy every single day. So on November 11th, we'll be silent in respect to their sacrifice, and that at the cenotaph or here at the Legion, we'll be placing a wreath in memory of them.
Councillor Whittle is away with notice. Councillor Wall, you were up, and then Councillor Wall.
Short and sweet. I've been making some phone calls for the truck light up. I put a little blurb, I asked for a little blurb in This Week in Dawson Creek. And in there I just have people phoning me. So far, so good. I have.
Oh, they did?
They are one of the 6 confirmed.
They will always say yes.
Oh, they said yes right away. It was awesome.
They're
So we have,
very community oriented.
we have 6 confirmed, and I have 14 maybes. So I'm hoping that I get confirmation. I said I need confirmation by the end of next week.
Excuse me, can I clarify? 6 confirmed trucks?
Yes.
And another 14 possible?
Yes. Yes.
We have to,
Now, Councilor Wall, if you remember when we talked about this, like, do they want to have a parade, or are they okay with just sitting here?
Right at the edge.
I'm just thinking 20 big semis here is gonna be like, what's the fire department?
And a band. It's gonna be great. And the vendors inside. We're gonna have lots of fun.
Okay, have they said anything about, is it just they're sitting here, or do they want?
I've had a
Like,
few
are they
ask that
thinking
they
of
want
like-
to do a parade. I haven't said yes or no to a parade. I've been more so telling people, okay, as of right now, if we could block up, we're hoping to block off the ends of the street, and maybe we could have some parking, but if
If
it's
we have 20 semis, we're not gonna be able to.
I've been saying it depends on how many we get, we might have to change the plan. So in the blurb I put in This Week in Dawson Creek, I just said, I need to know by the 15th of November, so I can present to council a finalized number of how many we have, and then we can quickly come up with a plan for what to do.
Well, actually, don't actually need to bring it to the council, just let us know how many, and we'll.
Well, that's the deadline I said.
We'll make a quick change from stationary to.
This is funny. You should let them know here. It's quite hilarious when you get the blood pressure up a little.
And we can get all of our blood pressure up pretty high, pretty good. Okay, that's
Should I
fantastic.
stop making calls?
No, I think it's fantastic.
Just live your best life there, Councillor Wall. You're doing
Well, I thought go big or go home. I mean, we could only end up with 6, right?
Yeah,
A lot of the
exactly.
oil field companies don't know if it's gonna be frozen yet and how much work there's gonna be. I mean,
All good, sounds great.
it's gonna be a good day anyways.
I'm excited. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, included in that, we have MLA Mike Bernier that is coming, and he may bring a tent, so that might be something for, like as a vendor or something outside, for people to get to know their elected representative. So that'll be something else that's kind of, I just wanted to bring that forward anyways. Also, I spoke with the Legion, they really desperately need a new roof, so if anybody in town wants to support our veterans, wants to get more involved with the community, the Legion is a fantastic place. To do that now, they're accepting donations at the Legion right now, and I think it's something that it's definitely a worthy cause. It's not one of those ones that I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. No, like the Legion is, I think, an integral part of our community. They have been for 80 years. It would be amazing to see them keep going, and they need a roof to do that. So, I had one more, but it'll probably come to me after the meeting, so that's okay.
Okay. Perfect. All right, I'm up. October 20th, I connected with the principal at the Pooskoopi Elementary School regarding the food drive for our community, and I actually did like an overall check-in. We were at a conjoined work event, and so I kind of got a moment to chit-chat with her. What? Okay, perfect. October 23rd, I attended the fire hall training night, met some of their new volunteers, and got an update on how everyone has been doing since the busy summer, and everyone's doing really, really well. They had lots of opportunity for training hours. I met with Mr. Bumstead on October 24th, I met with Mr. Bumstead regarding potential collaboration and meeting opportunities for myself and council with local Indigenous leaders at Doig and West Moberly. So I'm looking to set up a date where we can go out to Doig River First Nations and get to meet their elected chiefs and council members and just have an overall tour. The history of Pooskoopi is actually connected to Doig through Chief Pooskoopi, so they actually have some cool historic artifacts that I'm really excited for us to go check out. October 24th, I volunteered my time continuing to support the Pooskoopi Food Bank as they go through their transitional phase. And then October 31st, yesterday, I met with Chair Hebert and Mayor Dober to discuss opportunities to collaborate in the future, and I also brought forward the results from our community bus survey, and we will be meeting with them both again in the next few months once they've brought this information back to their respective boards. So that's sort of where I'm at there. Yeah, that's been me. I feel like I'm missing a bunch of things. I connected with the staff off and on a lot too. Yes,
I remembered my third point before the meeting ended. The spelling of Millsap Road, it is named in honor of an individual that lived in the area back in the day, is spelled incorrectly, and that came to my attention by a relative of the person it's honoring. Now, not all of Millsap Road is within the Pooskoopi boundary. A majority of it is in Area D. I just want to bring that forward that it has the correct spelling of it is one L, not two. So I don't know how we can go forward with that. Or maybe it's two L's instead of one, whatever it is, it has either one too many or one too few L's, but it's spelled incorrectly for who it's honoring. I would like at some point to see if we could do something to fix that, because I mean, if I was really somebody that...
First question, where's Millsap Road?
Millsap Road is one, it is the one
In Coos?
partially.
That much?
Kind of Briar Ridge side, or?
Side?
Okay, we will look into it.
It's the road, if you go down this road and it goes down the hill in front, yeah, it's that road. As soon as you get to the end of this block, that's where the name changes.
That's area.
I think that's Area D, but we'll look.
There is some changes coming to mapping that will be done with the PRRD, and it has to do with the 911 Next Gen program, which is starting, well, it kind of started last year, but every municipality was given money this year. Every municipality was given a minimum of $45,000 to educate and bring everything up to date so that it has to be a certain way for the new 911. So we will look into it with the PRRD and make sure that that is staying that way, or if 911 is making us change it. Because 911 may say it needs to have a number as opposed to a name.
They might get rid of all named roads.
They might. So we need to look into it. But there is ways around that. We can still leave the Millsap Road up there, but there's also a number underneath it.
And we can correct the spelling at that time.
If it's in our jurisdiction, if it's part of Area D, we can't do anything with it.
Well, we can let Area D know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that came to my attention and the individual.
We'll look into it.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Moving on to number 11, question period. There's nobody here. I keep inviting people. Nobody comes. I tell them. I let them know. I invite them.
That's a good thing though. That means we're doing good.
Yeah. In camera as per section 91, there's none for those. Riser report, none. Motion to adjourn.
Make Make the motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Yes, Steve.
Just so you know, you don't need a seconder when you adjourn. Ever.
I just
He
wanted
was
to.
so
Yeah, I know,
excited.
but just
I
so you
didn't
know,
involve-
just
I
so
know.
you know, you